Have you ever wondered why some organizations make decisions quickly while others take weeks to approve even small changes? Have you noticed that some companies encourage every employee to innovate, while others rely heavily on a few top executives? In this chapter, we will explore how organizational structure influences these differences. We will look at how structure shapes decision-making, communication, and innovation inside a company. First of all, what is organizational structure? Organizations are social systems. This means that most activities in organizations require more than one person. If we could do everything on our own, we would not need organizations at all. Think about manufacturing a product, running a hospital, or managing a restaurant. Each of these examples requires coordination among many people performing different tasks. Organizational structure is like a blueprint or a map. It defines who does what, who reports to whom, and how communication and decision-making flow through the organization. Structure is not about the individual people in those roles, it is about the positions themselves and how they fit together. In short, structure helps coordinate activities and clarify responsibilities so that everyone knows how their work connects to the organization's goals. There are four main dimensions that define and differentiate organizational structures. 1. Centralization is about who makes decisions. 2. Formalization is about how strictly rules and procedures are followed. 3. Hierarchy refers to how many layers of authority exist in the organization. 4. Departmentalization is about how jobs are grouped, for example by function, product, or region. These four dimensions are often related. For example, organizations that are highly centralized also tend to be more formal and have more hierarchical levels. Even though these dimensions influence one another, they are still conceptually different. Let us start with the first one, centralization, because it often defines the overall character of an organization. Centralization means that decision-making authority is concentrated at the top of the organization. Only a few senior managers make the key decisions. Decentralization, on the other hand, distributes authority across different levels. Employees and lower-level managers are empowered to make more decisions on their own. We can visualize this difference as a network map. In a centralized structure, everything connects to one main point or leader. In a decentralized structure, there are many smaller hubs making decisions locally. Each approach has both advantages and disadvantages. There is no universally good or bad structure. The best choice depends on what the company needs and the environment in which it operates. In centralized structures, decision-making tends to be more consistent because fewer people are making the key choices. It can also be faster to execute decisions since there is less debate and negotiation. Top managers have greater control, which makes coordination easier across departments. However, there are drawbacks as well. Employees often feel less empowered and have less opportunity to contribute ideas. Centralized systems can limit creativity and innovation, and poor decisions made at the top can affect the entire organization. In decentralized structures, employees feel more empowered and take greater ownership of their work. Decision-making is more adaptive, especially in fast-changing environments. Decentralization also encourages creativity and innovation, since employees are free to try new ideas and learn from experience. The downside is that decentralized systems can create inconsistency and sometimes conflict, as different parts of the company make decisions independently. A classic example is Caterpillar, the heavy equipment manufacturer. For many years, Caterpillar had a very centralized structure. Local offices had to wait for approval from headquarters to make even small pricing decisions. This slowed the company down and made it less competitive, especially against Komatsu, its Japanese rival, which operated with a more decentralized structure. Caterpillar eventually decentralized its decision-making, giving regional managers more authority. This change helped the company become more flexible and regain competitiveness. Another example comes from the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States. Each state had the authority to make its own public health decisions, which created a decentralized system. This approach allowed states to adapt their responses to local conditions. However, it also caused problems when states competed against each other for medical supplies. If decisions had been centralized at the national level, this type of competition might not have occurred. But the decentralized system also provided flexibility, which was valuable in some cases. A more modern example is Google. Google operates as a learning organization. Employees are encouraged to share knowledge, experiment, and learn from their mistakes. This type of structure reflects a decentralized and adaptive approach that supports continuous innovation in a fast-changing industry. Organizational structures are not permanent. They evolve as companies grow or as their environments change. Changing structure, however, is rarely easy. It involves shifting power, redefining communication patterns, and even changing the company culture. That is why organizations often face resistance to structural change, especially from those who are comfortable with the existing system. When change is managed successfully, it can help companies become more efficient, innovative, and adaptable. Let us return to the questions from the beginning. Why do some companies make decisions quickly while others move slowly? Why do some empower employees to innovate while others keep power concentrated at the top? The answer lies in their organizational structure. Structure determines how decisions are made, how communication flows, and how flexible a company can be. There is no single perfect structure. The right structure depends on the organization's goals, environment, and strategy. Thank you for watching. As you think about what you learned, consider this question. If you were to design your own company, would you make it centralized or decentralized, and why?